I suppose it could be said, so I'll say it. Consciousness is emerging out of consciousness. Eh. Yeah. I didn't know I could resume recording. Alright, I can stop and start. That's interesting. Let's see if I can do that again. This is very cool. So my consciousness, assuming that I have a consciousness, which might be obvious, axiomatic, consciousness that's mine, my consciousness of YouTube and of the sound recorder and the movie maker and everything that goes into throwing up all of this stuff onto YouTube, it is evolving. And that's great, that's wonderful. Is there something that could be said along the same lines for the cosmos, assuming the cosmos exists? That the cosmos was in some sense conscious, or God spoke and created everything. Those are funny axioms, funny beginnings to stories, and stories are fun. So let me see if I can stop this recording. Okay, yeah, I can stop it and start it. So I'm kind of getting the hang of this thing, but I don't want them to get too long because that could be boring for me or anybody else that might listen. So where am I going with this? Okay, so there's a question: does God exist? And I would like to say yes, because of the evidence. A lot of people want evidence, and so I've found some evidence that is sufficient for me. Not sure how necessary it is, or what philosophers think necessary, sufficient, or anything else is, or how much phenomena count in the presentation of evidence. Probably not enough scientifically if it can't be replicable. So how to square these views that I might adopt or map with each other such that they are perhaps not incompatible. Sometimes I like to think of maps as transparencies. When I was a kid, we had an encyclopedia set where in the middle of one of these books was a human body. There were all these transparencies: the skeletal system, the muscular system, the circulatory system, nervous system, and all put together there was a human body. But they could be seen leaf by leaf, transparency by transparency, as sort of being unique. And I think I'd like to try to do something like that as a metaphysics in terms of science and religion and philosophy, to kind of cartographically create some kind of a map or a view, a worldview that is in some way coherent and consistent, since that's how I am. I've got all these different views and they're not really fighting with each other. I just take them for whatever they're worth as tools to apply to whatever the situation is. If I'm doing something that's scientific, I want to fix, or mechanical, I'll use various tools of thought, tools at hand. And if I'm looking at things from a different angle, then God, I can pull up this paradigm and see things in a certain way, and it might be a psychological tool. Hopefully it helps to some degree. And in the ultimate scheme of things, again, it's the utility of the useless, probably. So this idea of the utility of the useless, for me, comes out of Taoism, as I understand it. Not real Taoism, sort of a philosophical Taoism, a construct. And it is it's a funny thing how what is useless might be useful, or how being useless could be useful. Sort of a strange thing. Maybe I'll talk about that more.